first lesson in measurement. Yes. So far we would have seen what is meant by measurement and what are the various quantities in the fundamental quantities, derived quantities, and what are the fundamental quantities and derived quantities and their symbols, what are derived quantities and their symbols, etc. Right? Yes. In this class we are going to see the continuation of the topic. Okay. Yes. The first topic which we are going to see is mass. Yes. What is mass? Mass is nothing but it is the amount of substance contained in a body. Okay, mass is nothing but it is the amount of substance contained in a body. The unit of mass is kilogram. Yes, the unit of mass is kilogram. Okay. Yes. See the difference between mass and weight. Mass is nothing but it is the quantity of matter contained in a body. Mass is the quantity of matter contained in a body. Weight is nothing but it is the force with which a body is attracted towards the earth. Okay. Weight is nothing but it is a kind of force that is getting attracted towards the earth. Okay. Mass is the quantity of matter contained in a body. Weight is the force with which a body is attracted towards the earth. Yes, mass of an object can never be zero. Mass can never be zero. In the same way, weight can be zero. It is quite opposite to the mass. Mass can never be zero. But weight can be zero. Mass is a scalar quantity. Weight is a vector quantity. Yes, what is meant by vector? Vector is nothing but it has both magnitude and direction. Okay. Mass is a scalar quantity. Weight is a vector quantity. Why weight is called as a vector quantity? It has both magnitude and direction. Okay. Yes. Weight, mass is measured with the help of beam balance. However, see the beam balance. If you go for a shop, how will the shopkeeper measure the quantity of the substance? He will measure the quantity of the substance with the help of the beam balance. Okay. There will be two pans that is being tied to the rope. You would have seen, right? Nowadays, beam balance are replaced by the digital balance. But you would have seen somewhere, okay? The quantity of the substance is measured with the help of the beam balance. Yes, the mass is measured by beam balance. The instrument to measure, device to measure mass is beam balance. Okay. Yes, weight is measured by spring balance. Weight is measured by spring balance. Unit of mass is kilogram. Kilogram is represented by the symbol kg. The unit of weight is Newton. Newton is represented by the symbol N. Okay. Yes, mass is the quantity of matter contained in a body. Weight is the force with which a body is attracted towards the earth. Mass of an object can never be zero. Weight of an object can be zero. Mass is a scalar quantity. Weight is a vector quantity. Mass is measured by beam balance. Weight is measured by spring balance. Unit of mass is kilogram, kg. The unit of weight is Newton, M. Yes, this difference you can expect this difference in your detailed answer. Okay. Yes, this difference can be asked in your detailed answer. Remember these 5 points, write it correctly. Okay. Yes, the first point is quantity, about the quantity, and it can never be zero. Weight can be zero, and it is a scalar, and weight is a vector quantity. Mass is measured by beam balance. Weight is measured by spring balance. Unit, at last we have to write the units. Okay, unit of mass is kilogram. Unit of weight is Newton. Okay. Yes. The next we are going to see the device that is used to measure the mass. Okay. Mass is measured by beam balance. As I have said before, you would have seen the beam balance, right? It consists of two pans that is being tied to the rope. Okay. Yes. See, beam balance has two pans, straight rod of metal. Two pans having equal mass are suspended at the ends of the rod. You would have seen that two pans, right? Those two pans will be suspended at the end of the rod. If we hold the pan with no weight, the rod is horizontal and the pointer is vertical. If we haven't added any weight on the pans, the rod will be on the horizontal side. Okay, the pointer will be pointing towards the vertical side. Yes. What is the principle behind this beam balance? Principle is nothing but two bodies of equal or same mass secure a balance on the beam having arms of equal length and bands of equal mass. Okay. Two bodies of equal or same mass will secure a balance having, if there is two equal weights only, the balance will be equal, right? If the weight they are adding and the quantity that you are adding must be of equal weight, okay? Then only equal. The quantity and the weight will be equal, okay? Yes, two bodies of equal or same mass would secure a balance on the beam having arms of equal length and bands of equal mass. If you are getting the quantities in the shop, okay, what the shopkeeper will do? He will keep the weight on one side and he will keep the substance, objects on one side, right? Yes, he will measure, he will equalize the weight and the quantity. He will equalize the weight and the quantity. If it is not equal, what he will do? He will add some more quantities to it to make the weight and the quantity equal. Is it clear? What the shopkeeper will do? He will keep a weight on one pan and the quantities will be kept on the other pan. Okay. If the quantity is small, what he will do to equalize the weight? He will add some more quantity to equalize the weight and the quantity. Have you ever observed it? Yes. That is what the principle of beam balance. Okay. Its characteristics of beam balance. Both arms must be of equal length. Both the arms must be of equal length and both the pans must be of equal mass. Both the arms and the pans should be of equal length and mass. Yes. As I said before, if we do not add any weight on the pans, what will happen? The rod will be pointing towards the horizontal side and the pointer will be pointing towards the vertical side. Okay. These are the characteristics of beam balance. What are the characteristics of beam balance? Both arms and pans must be of equal mass. Okay, they should have equal mass and length. Yes. If no weight is added to the pan, the rod will be pointed towards the horizontal side and the pointer will be pointed towards the vertical side. Okay. Yes. These are all the characteristics of beam balance. Okay. Yes. Next we are going to see what is the instrument that is used to measure weight. The instrument to measure weight is spring balance. Yes, now we are going to see what are all the characteristics of spring balance. Yes, see here, this is how the spring balance looks. Okay, it consists of an anchor and the pointer will be present here and the scales will be calibrated. With the scales only they will note the reading. How much weight does that object has? Okay, with this reading only they will note the measurement. How much weight does that object has? Yes, this is the scales and here there will be a pointer to point the reading. Next, you will have the spring pull down. Here there will be a spring. Okay, that spring. If you add the object, the spring will get enlarged and the pointer will be pointed towards the scale. Okay, yes, there will be a weight hanger to hang the weight. They will hang the weight here. Object will be hung in the weight hanger and the spring gets extended and this pointer will point the reading on the scale. So here, this is the spring balance. This is the hanger to hang the spring balance and this spring balance consists of springs and a pointer and the scales are calibrated on the balance and here there will be a spring that is pulled down by the object. Here there will be a weight hanger and the object. Okay, objects will be hanged on the weight hanger. If you are adding the objects, you are hanging the objects on the weight hanger, this spring will get enlarged. Okay, this pointer will point the scales. Okay, from the scales you can note the measurement. So here you are adding the weight on the weight hanger, the spring will get enlarged and this pointer will point towards the scales. From this scales you can note the readings. Okay, from this scales you can note the readings. Yes, this is what the characteristics of spring balance. It consists of hanger, scales, pointer, spring, weight hanger and the objects. Is it clear? Yes. Next we are going to see measurement of time. So far we have seen how to measure mass and how to measure weight, right? Now we are going to see measurement of time. How will you measure time? Time is measured. We will measure time with the help of our wristwatch or the clocks, etc. Right? There are various other clocks to measure the time. Okay. What we are familiar with, that is, we will measure with the help of the wristwatch or we will measure with the help of the wall clock. Yes. There are other clocks, namely atomic clock and quartz clock, to measure the time. Okay. Yes. What is the unit of time? Unit of time is second. Okay, the unit of time is second. It is expressed by the symbol S. Okay, SC. There are various other clocks, namely atomic clock and quartz clock. What is atomic clock? Atomic clock provide better standard for time. These atomic clocks will provide the better standard for time. Yes, they have the accuracy of 1 path in 10 power 13 seconds. These atomic clocks will have the accuracy of 1 path in 10 power 13 seconds. Seconds is the unit of time. Yes. Next is your quartz clock. Quartz clock is based on the principle of piezoelectric property of crystal. Quartz clock, in the quartz clock you have a quartz crystal. Okay. Quartz crystal will be present in the quartz clock, and it is based on the principle of piezoelectric property of crystal. This quartz clock has an accuracy of 1 second in 10 power 9 second. It has an accuracy of 1 second in 10 power 9 seconds. Okay. Yes. This is what the measurement of time. Atomic clocks and quartz clock. Atomic clocks provide better standard for time. They have the accuracy of 1 path in 10 power 13 seconds. Yes. Next is your quartz clock. Quartz clock is based on the principle of piezoelectric property of crystal. This you can expect in your one word question. Okay. Piezoelectric property of crystal is based on the principle of quartz clock. Okay. Yes, this quartz clock has the accuracy of 1 second in 10 power 9 seconds. Yes, we have seen the difference between mass and weight, and we have seen various devices for measuring the mass, namely beam balance, and for weight is spring balance. Okay. Beam balance consists of 2 cans and a metal rod. 2 cans are hanged at the end of the rods. Okay. Spring balance consists of an hanger, a spring holder, spring, and the object that is being hanged on the weight hanger. Okay. And it has a pointer and the scales to measure the reading. Okay. Next we have seen measurement of time, atomic clocks and quartz clock. The unit of time is second. We have seen what are the various devices for measuring weight and mass. Right. The next topic which we are going to see is significant figures. Yes, what are called as significant figures? The number of meaningful digits in a number are called as the significant figures. Yes, what are called significant figures? The number of meaningful digits in a number are called as the significant figures. For example, I am writing a number. See here, 4, 3, 6, 2. How many significant figures are here? How many meaningful numbers are here? There are 4 significant figures. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 significant figures. Yes, the number of meaningful digits in a number are called as the significant figures. Yes. Next we are going to see what are called as errors in measurement. Okay. Next topic which we are going to see is errors in measurement. Yes, what is an error? Error is nothing but it is the uncertainty in the measurement of physical quantity. It is the uncertainty in the measurement of physical quantity. Error is nothing but it is difference between the true value and the measured value. Error is nothing but it is the difference between the true value and the measured value. For an experiment there will be a fixed value. Okay. For this experiment this should be the result. This value should be the result. What we will do? We will measure the readings and we will bring out the result. Okay. If the result is wrong, then that error occurs. Okay. If the result is wrong, then it is said to be an error. Error is nothing but it is the difference between the true value, fixed value and the measured value. Okay. Yes. Then next we are going to see errors in measurement. There are 3 major errors in measurement. blunders. Measurement errors are divided into systematic error and random error. Okay, systematic error and random error. Systematic errors are further divided into instrumental error, environmental error, observational error. Okay, instrumental error, environmental error, observational error. Okay, errors in measurement are divided into three major types, namely gross error, measurement error, and blunders. Measurement errors are again divided into systematic error and random error. Systematic errors are further divided into instrumental error, environmental error, observational error. Yes, now we are going to see various errors. Okay, what does mean by gross error? Gross error is nothing but it occurs due to the human mistakes. It occurs while observing, while marking the reading. Okay, the error that occurs while reading or recording the results are called as the gross errors. These gross errors are due to our mistakes. Okay, it is due to our own mistakes. Yes, next is your systematic error. Systematic errors are nothing but error that occurs due to certain pattern of system. We will follow some procedure for taking the reading, right? Yes, while following the procedure, we might have left some procedure or we would have skipped some procedure. Okay, the error that occurs due to leaving the steps or skipping the steps are called as the systematic error. Okay, next is your instrumental error. The errors that occurs in calibrating of measuring instruments. In the instruments itself, there will be some error. The instrument may be old or it may have some error before itself. No, those errors are called as the instrumental error. Errors in instrument. Okay, next is your environmental error. It occurs due to variation in pressure, temperature, etc. Environmental error is the error that occurs due to variation in temperature, pressure, humidity. Humidity is nothing but the climate. Okay, change in climate. Yes, those errors are called as the environmental errors. Errors in observing are called as the observational errors. Errors while observing are called as the observational errors. Next is your random error. Random errors are unknown errors. Yes, random errors are unknown errors and they are unpredictable. Okay, we can't predict that this error is going to occur. It occurs randomly without our conscious. Okay, those errors are called as the random errors. Yes, gross errors are due to human mistakes. Systematic errors are errors that occur due to certain pattern or system. Instrumental errors occur in calibrating the measuring instruments. That is the error that is present in the instrument itself. Okay, next environmental errors are due to variation in temperature, pressure, and humidity. Humidity is nothing but the change in climate. Okay, next is the observational error. Errors in observing the readings. Okay, random errors are it is unknown and unpredictable. Next we are going to see what is meant by dimension. What is a dimension? Dimensions are nothing but powers to which fundamental quantities must be raised. Dimensions are nothing but the powers to which fundamental quantities must be raised. For example, take force. What is the formula for force? Formula for force is mass into acceleration, F which is equal to ma. Yes, what is the dimension of mass? The dimension of mass is m. What is the dimension of acceleration? The dimension of acceleration is Lt power minus 2. Lt power minus 2 is the dimension for acceleration, and for m the mass the dimension is m. So the dimension of force is m Lt power minus 2. Okay, what is the dimension of force? M Lt power minus 2. Yes, dimension is nothing but the powers to which fundamental quantities must be raised. Example, force. The formula for force is mass into acceleration. The dimension for mass is m and the dimension for acceleration is Lt power minus 2. Next we are going to see what are dimensional quantities and what are dimensionless quantities. What are called dimensional quantities? The constants which possess dimensions are called as the dimensional quantities. Dimensional quantities are nothing but which possess dimension, which contain dimension. Possess is nothing but which contain dimension. Okay, constants which possess dimension are called as the dimensional quantities. For example, Planck's constant. What is it? Planck's constant is represented by the letter H. Okay, Planck's constant is represented by the letter H. Next is your gravitational constant. Gravitational constant is expressed by G. Gravitational constant is represented by G. Planck's constant is represented by H. Okay, dimensional quantities are nothing but constants which possess dimensions are called as the dimensional quantities. Example, Planck's constant, gravitational constant. Next is your dimensionless quantities. Dimensionless quantities are nothing but quantities which do not possess dimension. Dimensionless is nothing but without dimension. Okay, quantities which do not possess dimension are called as the dimensionless quantities. Example, strain. Strain has no dimension. Angle. Angle has no dimension. What is the unit of angle? Unit of angle is degree. Okay, degree has no dimension. Okay, so it is called as the dimensionless quantity. So here quantities which possess dimension are called as dimensional quantities. Quantities which do not possess dimension are called as the dimensionless quantities. This question you can expect in your 2 mark. Okay, 2 mark questions. What are called dimensional quantities? What are called dimensionless quantities? Yes. Next is your principle of homogeneity. Yes, what is meant by homo? Principle of homogeneity. What is meant by homo? Homo means same. Okay, homo means same. So what is homogeneity? An equation in that is dimensionally correct if dimensions of various terms on both sides of the equation are same. When the equation is said to be correct? If the dimension of both sides are same, then the equation is said to be correct. Okay, that is called as principle of homogeneity. Homo means same. When the equation is said to be dimensionally correct, if both the dimensions on this if the dimensions on both the sides are same, then it is called as the dimension. The next topic which we are going to see is principle of homogeneity. Okay, homo means same. Yes, when the equation is said to be same, if the equations on both the sides are equal, then it is said to be homogeneous. Okay, and the equation is dimensionally correct if dimensions of various terms on both sides of the equation are same. When the equation is said to be correct if both dimensions are equal, then the equation is said to be correct. This condition is called as the principle of homogeneity. Okay, we have seen what are significant figures and what is meant by error. Error is nothing but it is the difference between the true value and measured value. We have seen various errors in measurement, namely gross errors, systematic errors, instrumental errors, environmental errors, observational errors and random errors. We have seen what is meant by dimension. Dimensions are nothing but powers to which fundamental quantities must be raised. Force, for example, force equal to ml t power minus 2. We have seen what are dimensional quantities and dimensionless quantities and what is principle of homogeneity. What is principle of homogeneity? In an equation is said to be dimensionally correct if the dimensions on the both sides of the equation are same. Okay, then this condition is called as principle of homogeneity. In what are dimensional quantities and dimensionless quantities and the principle of homogeneity. Right. The next topic that we are going to see is dimensional formula for various physical quantities. Okay, dimensional formula for various physical quantities. Yes, the first quantity is area. What is the formula for area? Formula for area is length into breadth. The formula for area is length into breadth. Yes, what is the dimension for length? The dimension for length is L. The dimension for length is L. And the dimension for into L is L squared. L into L is L squared. The dimension for area is L squared. Okay, the dimension of volume. What is the dimension of volume? What is the formula for volume? The formula for volume is length into breadth into height. Yes, what is the formula for volume? The formula for volume is length into breadth into height. What is the dimension for length? The dimension for length is L and the dimension for breadth is L. The dimension for height is also L. So L into L into L is L cube. Okay, the dimension for volume is L cube. The dimension for volume is L cube. So M is 0. There is no M in this dimension and there is no T. Okay, so M and T are 0. The dimension for volume is L cube. Next, density. What is the formula for density? The formula for density is mass by volume. Mass by volume. The dimension for mass is M and the dimension for volume is L cube. So the dimension for density is M L power minus 3. If this L cube goes to the numerator, it becomes minus 3. Okay. The dimension for density is M L power minus 3. Next is your speed or velocity. What is the formula for velocity? Velocity equal to distance by time. Velocity equal to distance by time. The dimension for distance is L and the dimension for time is T. Okay. So L T power minus 1 is the dimension for velocity. The dimension for velocity is L T power minus 1. Next is your acceleration. What is the formula for acceleration? Velocity by time. Okay. What is the dimension for velocity? L T power minus 1. Okay. The dimension for time is T and the dimension for acceleration is L T power minus 2. This T has the power 1. If this T power 1 goes to the numerator, it becomes T power minus 1. Okay. So minus 1 into minus 1 is minus 2. Hence the dimension for acceleration is L T power minus 2. Next is your momentum. What is the formula for momentum? T, which is equal to mv, mass into acceleration. Yes, the dimension for mass is m and the dimension for velocity. What is the dimension for velocity that we have calculated here? L T power minus 1. So the dimension for momentum is m L T power minus 1. The dimension for momentum is m L T power minus 1. Next is your force. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. The dimension for mass is m and the dimension for acceleration is L T power minus 2. Next is your pressure. The formula for pressure is force per area. Force by area. Unit of force is mLT and the area is L. Okay, L squared. So the dimension for pressure is mL power minus 1 T power minus 2. mL power minus 1 T power minus 2. Next is your angular velocity. Angular velocity is angle by time. Angular velocity is angle by time. Angle has no dimension. Okay, angle has no dimension. The dimension for time is T. T power 1, if it goes to the numerator, it becomes minus 1. Okay, m power 0, L power 0 and T power minus 1. Angle has no dimension. It is dimensionless quantity. Next, angular acceleration. Angular velocity by time. Acceleration is velocity by time. Angular acceleration is angular velocity by time. Yes. Next, this angle has no unit and time is t squared. Okay, m power 0 L T power minus 2. Next is your angular momentum. Angular momentum is moment of inertia into angular velocity. Angular momentum is moment of inertia into angular velocity. As the dimension for angular momentum is m L squared T power minus The dimension for angular momentum is ml squared t power minus 1. Next is your torque. What is torque? Torque is equal to force into distance. Torque is the product of force and distance. Yes, the dimension for torque is ml squared t power minus 2. The dimension for torque is ml squared t power minus 2. Next is your frequency. Frequency which is equal to 1 divided by time period. 1 by time period. Yes, in this time period there is no mass and there is no length. Okay, so m is 0 and l is also 0. If 1 by t can be written as t power minus 1. 1 by t can be written as t power minus 1. The dimension for area is L squared. The dimension for volume is L cube. The dimension for density is ml power minus 3. And the dimension for velocity is ml t power minus 1. The dimension for acceleration is ml t power minus 2. The dimension for momentum is ml t power minus 1. The dimension for force is ml t power minus 2. The dimension for pressure is ml power minus 1 t power minus 2. The dimension for angular velocity is m power 0 l power 0 t power minus 1. And the dimension for angular acceleration is angular velocity by time. The dimension is m power 0 l power 0 t power minus 2. Angular momentum. The dimension for angular momentum is ml squared t power minus 1. Next, the dimension for torque is ml squared t power minus 2. The dimension for frequency is m power 0 l power 0 t power minus 1. Okay, these are all the dimensional formula for various physical quantities. Next, we are going to see uses of dimensional analysis. This question you can expect in your detailed answer. Okay, uses of dimensional analysis. They are used to convert physical quantity of the system from one system of unit to another. Physical quantity from one system of unit to another. And they are used to check the dimensional correctness of the given equation. This dimensional analysis is used to check the dimensional correctness of the given equation. Next, it is used to establish relationship between the physical quantities. Dimensional analysis is used to convert physical quantity from one system of unit to another. It is used to check the dimensional correctness and it is used to establish the relationship between physical quantities. Okay. Yes, first, it is used to convert physical quantity from one system of unit to another. Consider two systems, namely CGS system and SI system. Okay, what is CGS? Centimeter, gram, second system and your standard international system. Okay, yes. The value for the gravitation in CGS system is 667 into 10 power minus 8. We have to calculate the value of gravitation in SI unit. Okay. Next, here the value for M1 is 1 gram, L1 is 1 centimeter, T1 is 1 second. It is expressed in gram centimeter second. CGS. Okay. In CGS, it is gram centimeter second. Mass is 1 gram, length is 1 centimeter and time is 1 second. Okay. In SI system, mass is 1 kilogram, length is 1 meter and time is 1 second. In CGS system, it is represented in gram centimeter second. In SI system, kilogram meter second. Yes. The dimension for G in CGS system is m power minus 1 L cube t power minus 2. The dimension of G in SI system is m2 power x, L2 power y, t2 power z. Dimension of G in CGS is m power minus 1 L cube t power minus 2. And the dimension of G in SI system is m2 power x, L2 power y, t2 power z. Okay. X which is equal to minus 1, y equal to 3, z equal to minus 2. Is it clear? M power x, L power y, t power z. Okay. So m power x, this is the x, y and z. X equal to minus 1, y is 3 and z is minus 2. Is it clear? Yes. G into m2 power x, L2 power y, t2 power z, which is equal to GCGS into m1 power x, L1 power y, t1 power z. So the powers are same. This multiplication comes into division. Okay. m1 by m2 power x, L1 by L2 power y, t1 and t2 power z. The powers are same. So we are dividing. Okay. m1 by m2 power x, L1 by L2 power y, t1 by t2 power z. Now g into m1. Here g into m1 by m2 power x, L1 by L2 power y, t1 by t2 power z. Hence the value of g is 667 into 10 power minus 8. Okay. Write the value of g. m1 is 1 gram. Okay. m2 is 1 kilogram. Substitute the values of m1 and m2, L1, L2, t1 and t2 in this equation. Okay. Substitute the values of m1, m2, L1, L2 and t1, t2 in this equation. Yes. You have to convert this kilogram into gram, meter into centimeter. Okay. 1 meter which is equal to 100 centimeter. 1 gram which is equal to 1000 kilogram. You have to convert this kilogram into gram and meter into centimeter. Okay. Yes, convert it and your final answer is 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square kilogram power minus 2. Newton meter square kilogram power minus 2 is your unit. Okay. Yes, next. To check dimensional correctness. To check the dimensional correctness of given equation. We are going to check whether the dimensions of this equation on the both sides are equal. Okay. S equal to, consider this equation, S equal to ut plus half at square. We are considering this equation. The dimension of S is L. The dimension of U, initial velocity. What is the dimension for velocity? Lt power minus 1. Yes. Substitute the dimension for velocity and the dimension of time is t. Plus half is a constant. So remove this constant. Okay. The value for acceleration is Lt power minus 2 and substitute the dimension of t here. Is it clear? Consider this equation and the dimension of S is L. Okay. U, initial velocity. U here is nothing but the initial velocity. We have seen the dimension of velocity Lt power minus 1 and the dimension of time is t. Half is a constant. A, the dimension of acceleration is Lt power minus 2 and the dimension of time is t. Okay. Yes. Cancel all this. If you cancel all this, the final answer you will get is L plus L. Okay. Here this t power minus 1 and this t will get cancelled. Okay. T power minus 1 and t will get cancelled. T power minus 2 and t square will get cancelled. So what are the remaining dimensions? Here there will be one L and here there will be another L. L which is equal to L plus L. The dimensions on both sides are equal. Okay, the dimensions on both sides are equal. Next, to establish relationship between physical quantities. Here we have proved that the dimensions are equal. Okay. To establish the relationship between the physical quantities, consider the time period. Time is directly proportional to mass, length and acceleration due to gravity. Time period is directly proportional to mass of the ball, length of the pendulum and acceleration due to gravity. Now, to remove this proportionality constant, we are introducing the constant called k. Okay, k into m power x, l power y, g power z. To remove this proportionality, we are introducing a constant k here, t which is equal to k into m power x, l g power z. Now t power 1 which is equal to m power x, l power y, l t power minus 2 the power z. Okay, m power x, l power y, t power z. No, so we are writing what is the form value for acceleration? L t power minus, that is what we have written here. Okay, m has the power 1, l has the power 1, and the acceleration due to gravity is l t power minus 2 power z. Okay, we are substituting the value for dimension of acceleration due to gravity in this step. Okay, now we are adding everything. M power x, l y plus z, t power minus 2 z. Okay, here there is one l power y and l power z. Is it clear? That is l power y into l power z. So if it is a multiplication, we have to add the powers. Okay, l power y plus z, t power minus 2, m power x. Here there is one l power y and l power z. We are adding the powers. L power y plus z, t which is t power minus 2z. Okay, x which is equal to 0, y plus z equal to 0, minus 2z which is equal to minus 1. Now t which is equal to k into l by g whole power minus whole power 1 by 2. T which is equal to k into l by g whole power 1 by 2. Substitute all these values in this equation. Okay, you will get the final equation as t equal to k into l by g power half. T which is equal to k which is equal to 2 pi. Okay, value of k they are substituted here is 2 pi. K equal to 2 pi. T which is equal to 2 pi. This half they are taking it as root value. Okay, root of l by g. T which is equal to k l by g power half. K which is equal to 2 pi. T equal to 2 pi root of l by g is your final equation. Okay, we have checked the dimensional correctness and we have established the relationship between the physical quantities. Is it clear? Yes. Next we are going to see the problems. They are asking us to convert these values into meter. We have to convert all these values into meter. 5. What does this symbol represent? It represents the micro. Okay. 5 micrometer. Micro in the sense, what is the value for micro? Into 10 power 6. Okay. 10 power minus 6 is the value for micro. See, 5 into 10 power minus 6 meter. This 5 micrometer can be written as 5 into 10 power minus 6 meter. Micro which is equal to 10 into 10 power minus 6. Next 3 kilometer is 3 into 10 power 3 meter. 3 into 10 power 3 meter. 20 millimeter. Millimeter is power minus 3. For kilometer it is 10 power plus 3. For millimeter it is 10 power minus 3. Next 73 picometer. This is PM is picometer. Pico in the sense 10 power minus 12. Okay. Picometer is, the value for pico is 10 power minus 12. Yes, 73 into 10 power minus 12 meter. Next 7.5 nanometer. The value for nano is 10 power minus 9. Okay, the value for nano is 10 power minus 9. So 7.5 into 10 power minus 9 meter. Is it clear? The value for micro is 10 power minus 6. The value for kilometer is 10 power 3 meter. And millimeter is 10 power minus 3 meter. Pico is 10 power minus 12. Next, nano is 10 power minus 9. Okay. These are all the submultiple units. This nano, pico, millimeter are submultiple units. Yes. Next, you have remaining 2 problems that you have to solve it and give it as your homework. Okay. Yes. That's all we have. This your first lesson has been over, and complete the homework and send it to your WhatsApp group. Okay. Yes. Thank you, students.